Hi everyone, I am attorney Giselle Ayala and this is Yuhu Education. In this video, we're going to talk about copyright. It's very important to understand copyright and how it helps you to protect your intellectual property. Now, before we continue, don't forget to subscribe, to give us your support, and remember that this is not legal advice. But if you have any questions or there's something you want to address, you can leave comments or reach out to an attorney in your jurisdiction. Now, let's talk about copyright. So copyright is a form of intellectual property and it protects creative works. Now, it's important to differentiate copyright from trademarks. Sometimes people say, oh yeah, I have copyrighted that name. But it's important to understand first that names cannot be copyrighted and second that copyright and trademarks are different. So when we think about trademarks, we think about symbols, words that I use for the purpose of differentiating products or services in the marketplace. Now, you may have art, right? Let's say you created a character that is called Ula Ula, right? And that's a bunny, the bunny Ula Ula. And you're going to use that bunny Ula Ula to sell merchandise. You might want to say, I'm using this bunny for the purpose of differentiating my merchandise from the others. That's valid. However, keep in mind that when it comes to this bunny, there are different considerations to make. This is Giselle Ayala from youwhopost.com. If you like this video, don't forget to follow, to give us your support, and to click the notifications button so you can get new videos information. Additionally, don't forget to go to youwhopost.com if you want to learn more about entrepreneurship, art, and other interesting topics. Okay, so in our example, Ula Ula, the bunny, it's a character, it's a cartoon. If you use that bunny to differentiate products and services in the market, it is a trademark. However, if that bunny, you just leave it there and someone else finds that bunny and they want to use it not for merchandise, but to promote a coaching service for children, they could if there are certain conditions that are met. So what I want to explain to you is that a trademark, it's a symbol used for the purpose of commercial recognition. It's a source identifier of a product. So when it comes to trademarks, two trademarks that are highly similar can be used by different parties to differentiate products that are different. However, if you really want to protect your art, you don't want other party to use that bunny or that artistic creation. That's when copyright comes. So copyright protects your rights over creative works that are drawings, cartoons, paintings. This protection means that the author of that art is entitled to compensation and is entitled to say how and who will use that creation. So in our example of Ula Ula the bunny, it's a creative work. If it's a cartoon, it's a visual work of art that deserves and is entitled to protection. So if you register that, you're going to have evidence of copyright ownership. You don't need registration to have copyright because copyright exists automatically from the time a creative work exists. However, you want copyright registration to have evidence of that ownership. And once you have that evidence, you can take action against others. Once you have created an artistic cartoon, for example, no one can use it for commercial purposes without your protection. So while trademarks protect symbols that are used in commerce only to be the identifier source of a product to indicate who is responsible for the production of a product, copyright is concerned about protecting the author's work so that author has control over that piece of art. And the requirements for trademark protection and copyright protection are different. So when we think about trademarks, they have to be original, but we want originality, especially from a marketing purpose. From a trademark law purpose, the requirement is that the mark be original, be unique, but especially in the United States, that mark should not be highly or confusing similar to another. So if that mark is not substantially confusing similar to another, it can coexist with the same mark in another industry. I'm going to give you another example. So let's say we think about the trademark Hola. We have hola as a trademark word, or we have hola with a wave, right? As a trademark for purposes of selling lamps. And now someone wants to use hola with a similar logo for purposes of selling tourist packages. They can both coexist because even though trademarks must be original and unique, one of the key points of trademark protection is that they are not confusingly similar. They are not substantially similar in the same industry so that a consumer may misidentify one product with another. When it comes to copyright, we're looking for originality and we're also looking for authorship. We're thinking about the author, the creator of that piece of art. And when it comes to copyright, someone may not copy an author's work to reproduce it, to sell merchandise. So you create a work artistic and someone copies that work, wherever they use it, you are entitled to compensation because the purpose of copyright is to protect artistic works so that they are not misappropriated. So it is unlawful to copy someone else's work to create derivatives, to create something based on without permission. That's how you can identify the difference between trademarks and copyright. Trademark protects symbols within specific traits or for specific products. Copyright protects the rights of the author to protect and control the use of that artwork in any space, commercial or not commercial. Of course, there are exceptions. That is something called the fair use doctrine. We are not going to talk about this right now, but I want to explain you the importance of considering copyright and trademarks, the difference between these two when it comes to protecting your art. So remember, when it comes to copyright, what you need is some originality and you have to be the author. That means you have to be the creator, the originator of that work. That's why when it comes to generative AI artwork, there is no copyright protection. If you only include some words and get back an image, that image is not created by you. It was created by a machine, and therefore it is not entitled to copyright protection. Anyone can use that image. So in copyright, we have one, the require of originality, two, the require of authorship. That means that it has to be created by a human being to be entitled to protection. And three, it has to be fixed in a tangible medium. If you draw something on a window and someone just goes and erases it, that is not protected anymore from copyright. Even if your friend sees that drawing and they copy it immediately, yours is not fixed in a tangible medium. Therefore, you don't have a protectable interest in copyright. Here is also important to note that while a trademark might be created by a machine, by someone else, a copyright protection requires that the author be the original creator. It must be in some way the reflection of that author's expression, that artwork. So that's the difference between copyright and trademarks. What you want to know also is that if you want a broad protection for your artwork, you will have to consider registration with the Copyright Office. And remember that if you have a logo that's not very original, probably is not entitled to copyright protection. Let's say I have a yellow point within inside a red point. That might not be very original for purposes of copyright protection. However, if I'm going to start consistently to use that yellow point with a red dot inside to mark my merchandise and I start doing a lot of marketing and everyone sees my yellow dot with that red point inside everywhere, that symbol, which originally was not very was very creative, is going to be recognized because what happened in trademarks is that they use in commerce the association of the consumer that that symbol, that yellow dot with a red dot inside, it's actually the symbol that it's representing certain company that's selling merchandise. If the consumer has that understanding, a trademark, which maybe is not super original, but in some way has a secondary meaning, a commercial meaning for the consumer, that trademark is protected. So that's important to consider when it comes to copyright and trademarks. Copyright, it's about originality and the protection of authors. Trademarks, it's about uniqueness, not confusing the consumer, and commercial use to identify products and services in the marketplace. This is important because to protect one or the other, you have to follow different strategies. I hope this video give you a better understanding of what's copyright, what's trademark, and how you can use both of them to protect your artwork.